Hey guys, how you doing? This is JP Saricolia. Welcome again to another episode of Age of Heroes, my podcast. And I want to talk now about the news that we've been hearing everywhere. You can see them in a lot of websites, on YouTube, and a lot of places. The news were brought or started by Variety magazine, where they exposed that DC has no plans to bring Cavill and, of course, Affleck back to reprise their roles as Batman and Superman. That it seems that DC is trying to kind of slowly cut the ties and kind of restart fresh, just move this page aside and this storylines that they created that actually they mess up big time and move forward to the next thing. Which is kind of sad. I can tell you one thing, and I mentioned this in a previous video when I talked about Cavill, when there were some discussions. I think there were some financial negotiations, and ultimately I think Cavill was saying goodbye to the DCEU, and their agent had to go back after their backlash, of course, have to say that was not the case, they will continue working. So maybe there were some give in from DC and from Warner Brothers, so they decided to stay the course. But according to the insiders, DC is really trying to kill this and completely move forward, move on from this and from the Snyderverse. Which, in my opinion, I think it's sad to see this because, to be honest with you, it had so much great potential. Of course, we know last year, Affleck even mentioned this when he was not interested to reprise his role, even though under his contract he has another movie just to play the part as Batman. And I think he also he might do a cameo somewhere here and there, and that might just fulfill the contract and be done with it. So right now there's no plans. We know we at the end of this year we have Aquaman coming, which I'm really excited because it looks great. Of course we have Wonder Woman 2, and we have Shazam, which looks good. It looks really good. So, but it seems that DC is moving in a new direction. Of course, even though they're moving in a new direction, they're still making some of the same mistakes as we have seen with their streaming service when they have the Titans. Technically, they're trying to copy what Netflix has done with Marvel, in collaboration with Marvel, with their Defenders lineup, with the Daredevil and Jessica Jones and so on. So they try to do the same thing. And this is the problem. I think that's always been the problem from this universe, starting from the Snyderverse. Is the fact that they wanted to go, first of all, they wanted to copy Marvel, but at the same time, they wanted to give it their own twist. They wanted to give it a more dark, edgy feel to the movies, and that really backfired on them. Man of Steel was not a bad movie, but it was a bit dready. It was a bit, depressing. But it wasn't a bad movie. I think it was a good beginning. But Batman v Superman was really a disappointment. Even though it made a lot of money, it really divided fans big time between the ones that love him and the ones that hated the movie. And the problem is that the ones that love him were technically just DC hardcore comic book fans of a young generation, while the vast majority of the people, which probably 75% of the people, hate it, and that's the rest of the world. And it really divided that. And the movie wasn't that good. And, I talk in my review about the extended version, which was a much better movie in the end, but it was not a great movie. It's not like an excellent movie, but it fit some of the problems. But, of course, we have seen that then the Justice League was definitely a misfire. It really hurt and really presented to DC, really kind of in their faces. He really exploded in their faces to let them know that, they were going the wrong way. Of course, Wonder Woman fixed the problem. At least Wonder Woman really catch a much better acceptance, and it's because the quality of the film, and because the director, and because in that moment I think Warner Brothers understood that it was just necessary for them to let the directors direct their movies, and also to cater to what the demands of the fans were and what the expectations of the fans were. Because in this case, Wonder Woman is the closest to the comic book lore, at least closest to what, even to what Marvel is doing, to entice viewers into their storyline, into their movies. So I think that was a good decision, they did it good. And of course, Justice League came after that. Even Wonder Woman couldn't save that mess. And even though I kind of like it, it has its moments. It really lacks in so many different areas. And it was poorly conceived. Of course, there are two directors involved in the process after sadly, the daughter of Snyder committed suicide. Of course, a new director had to come over and kind of fix some of the things here and there. So there are two visions there kind of colliding with each other, fighting against each other. So definitely that really affects the movie, at least the pacing or the feel of the movie. It feels disjointed. It feels incomplete, and not really. It doesn't have the weight or the meat or the center or the core that really, the core message that would have make this movie much, much better. And of course, it seems that DC has tried to go too fast to really catch up with Marvel, that in the way they fail to really set the stage for the movies, for their universe. And of course, it has been said and done, has been mentioned and discussed by many people over, for the years, that the lack of DC understanding and the importance of planting the seed, and making it grow. And sadly, this has been the case. I don't know. It is sad in one end because I do like Cavill as an actor. He's a great actor. I like Affleck. He's not my favorite actor, but he is not a bad actor, and I don't think that he was doing a bad personification of the character of Bruce Wayne or Batman. He's not my favorite Batman, but definitely he looked the part. And I think the possibilities were there. You have good actors. You have good cinematography. You even have good directors. Snyder's not a bad director. He has a vision, which I might not agree with, but he's not a bad director. The problem is what DC has implemented, or what DC wants to do with this universe, is to really expand this and create it in a way that really goes too fast, too soon. And I think that in the end, that's what harmed these actors and these characters and these movies, is because you went too fast, really, really fast. I think with after Man of Steel, they should have come out with a Man of Steel 2. It should have stayed that way to kind of set Superman. They should have come up with a Batman origin story with Affleck, and maybe a more mature level, but at least something, with Affleck himself as a Batman. So you kind of present the case. You can bring probably the Joker into it. You have been able, to do something, set the stage that way from the beginning and build a universe. If your plan was to do the Justice League, then, just build the characters first, bring the Green Lantern again, restart that fresh, bring the Martian Manhunter, set the stage for every character. You did it with Wonder Woman. You did it phenomenal. Like Aquaman, you're doing it with Aquaman. Now is the origin story that we need to see. Shazam, all of those characters. Once you have them all lined up, and then you go into the Justice League. I don't know why they couldn't do it that way. They didn't do it, and the problem now is that they just want to, quietly just wants to move into the sunset, just forget about this like it never happened and restart again. The good thing about this is that no matter what they do, we know that they will come back at some point. It might not be these actors, but it might be some other actors. They might have to reboot the whole thing, and it would be, and we'll have to watch it. We have to wait a couple of years perhaps. But I think that will be the best approach. Marvel has done it. It didn't do it. It wasn't a happy event. It didn't happen just by by stroke of luck. It happened because they put the work on it, and they work patiently, but they have a vision in mind. What will be the next step and the next step and the next step and the next step. And they're right now at this point, even though we have movies already planning ahead of what's going to happen after this phase ends and the new phase comes. So already working, planning to the next phase, already planning in regards to what the X-Men world will be. And even though we might not hear a lot of it, we know that they're already in talks about it and they're already planning ahead of it. And they have plans in regards, once the X-Men come over, how they can expand towards that direction. So they're already working ahead of time. With Warner Bros. And DC, there's no plan. There's never been a plan. It's all working as it goes, as it comes, one movie to the next, and see what sticks. And I feel that that's the wrong approach to these films. Has always been the wrong approach to these characters. Don't see what sticks. Just throw everything to the air and see what sticks to the wall. No, just simply start from the beginning, create a plan, sit down and make a plan. You have very smart people working for your company. very talented people. And just make a plan and, say in the next 10 years, this is what we want to do. We want to do this, we want to do this, we're going to move to this point so we can move towards that direction. I think the possibilities were there. People were excited. I was excited. I wanted to see Darkseid. I wanted to see, these characters evolving into the Justice League. But the way they did it was very, very messy and without a center, without a pendulum I can move it, it can move and balance it properly. It was totally unbalanced and totally out of character and totally out of place. And so it was just a mess. I'm still going to support DC, but definitely I feel sad for those as an actors for leaving because, as a person, I love for something to start and to end. We all love that. We love stories that end. It seems to me that if they don't do it right, if they don't end it right, it seems that it will be a total incomplete mess, incomplete action, incomplete storyline. Everything is going to be there like in limbo forever. And I just don't like that. Maybe I'm just too, nitpicky about it. At least give it an ending and just move on. At least just bring him back at least one more movie and let them go. And then, of course, restart again. Just give it, do it with class, at least you're going to say goodbye, do it with class. So, this is my thing. I know nobody listens to what I'm saying. I know Warner Bros. Is paying attention to my voice, but at least, if someone hears this, if you hear it, just do the right thing. I said, please just do the right thing for the fans and, just give it a nice ending, at least a cool ending. It might not be something big, but just let it go. Just finish it and, just wait a year or two and then do it again. Start again, start fresh. Customers, which are your viewers, the people that buy your books and all of that, they will be more than grateful. So once again, thanks for watching. And thanks for listening to the podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video or this podcast with your friends. So once again, thank you, friends. God bless you. Talk to you again. Bye-bye.